Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome into the Shelby County High School football pregame show, live on location at a few different spots right now. We've got Tyler Rayleigh over there at Pelham High School tonight for a big county showdown against Calera. Andrew Simonson at another county showdown just up the road from me here at Oak Mountain and Herdmont as he gets to take in the Spain Park Helena battle there in Class 6A Region 3. And I'm right here in Class 7A Region 3 at Herdmont Park for the Oak Mountain Eagles welcoming the Thompson Warriors. Those are three county battles taking place tonight, but we got 10 total matchups to talk about. It's another week of region play. It's a big week for many of our teams as they look to continue off the confidence they built or find some confidence here early in region play. So, guys, we got 10 games to talk about tonight. A lot of excitement to look forward to. Let's go ahead and dive right in. We got about 45 minutes until kickoff on another beautiful Friday night. It's been hot all day today. Sun's finally starting to get behind the trees in the stadium here at Herdmont, so we know we're going to get some better temperatures here. It's a beautiful night for high school football. So let's dive in and start with the AISA and ACSC. We got Cornerstone hosting Springwood, Coosa Valley hosting Trinity, and Evangel at Freedom. All three big games tonight. So, Andrew, I'll start with you in this Cornerstone matchup tonight as the Chargers take on Springwood. This is a game that we expect Cornerstone should come out and continue their winning ways here early in the season.
Yeah, definitely. Springwood's had a really porous defense, and that bodes really well for Cornerstone's run game, which eclipsed 500 rushing yards just last week against Trinity. But it's going to be that defense, which is going to be really crucial in this matchup. They let Trinity back in the matchup last week for a little bit and made it a little bit closer than expected. I'll be looking to see a big response from the Chargers on defense this week as they look to gear up for what's going to be a really big stretch run within region play.
Alec, we cannot hear you.
Sorry about that. So, Tyler, all I was saying is basically this is a Cornerstone team that 48-37 win last week. Defense has been a little bit suspect at times, but the offense, they've scored 44 or more in every game, taking on a Trinity team that gave up 62 points a week ago. Got to feel good about this Cornerstone offense tonight rolling to a win.
Yeah, you really got to feel good, especially in the ground game. That's what they've relied on all year long. And when you think about it, Jackson Moore and Malachi Adams are just a force that needs to be reckoned with. And they're right, and they are a bullseye. They run into every team and put it with determinate force. I just expect Cornerstone to take on business as usual, even if Trinity Christian has made these games close in the first 2 weeks. I do expect Cornerstone to go out there business as usual and make a case for themselves.
Well, it's been a while since we've seen Coosa Valley in action. They win their opener, a little bit of a shocker to us, but an awesome start to the season for the Rebels. But now they've had 2 weeks off since then. That opener, they get a 30-28 win over Springwood. Now they take on Trinity this week. Andrew, what are your thoughts on this game? Can you see the Rebels improving to what would be 3-0 after getting a forfeit win a couple weeks ago?
I certainly can see a path, but it's going to have to come down to that really good passing game that we saw a couple weeks ago. Braylon Smalls linking up with a couple of really good receivers out there out in Coosa Valley. But I think the biggest key is going to be mental. With 2 weeks to sit on such a big win that took them to 3 straight wins dating back to last season, it's easy to let that stuff get in your head a little bit. I'll be interested to see how Coosa Valley tries to block that out and take care of business on the field for what would be an absolutely monumental win for this program. Win your first 3 games, position yourself well for the playoffs as well. It'd be phenomenal if they could do so, but Trinity's definitely going to pose a big test for them tonight. Alec, unmute yourself.
Thank you. This is a Coosa Valley team that beat Springwood early in the season, 30-28. Springwood lost to Trinity 42-27. So when you look at that, Tyler, it lines up almost that this should be a win for Coosa Valley if you believe in the like matchups like that. But I think it's going to be a tough game. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, and that's my fault. I accidentally said Trinity Christian on the last game, and it was Springwood. Now we move to Trinity Christian. Yes, they have been a competitive team in their first 2 games as a football program. I do think Coosa Valley could be a little bit affected by the fact that they had 2 weeks rest after the forfeit and the bye week. But you do look at this Coosa Valley team, and it is a solid test, but they have the weapons when you look at a guy like Braylon Smalls, and the offense just must go out and execute tonight with him, Kellen Smith, and Jake MacArthur. I do think it's a test that Coosa Valley can overcome tonight and make a name for themselves here and possibly pick up another week 2 win, and I expect them to.
All right, so Andrew has texted and said, I don't need to mute myself. Y'all can't hear the blaring speaker in the background?
No.
That is unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know if Herd might just put in the new speaker with their new Jumbotron, but it is I can barely hear myself think. So I will not mute myself, but if y'all do have issues, just let me know. But that takes us to our last AISA ACSC game. Evangel taking on Freedom as they hit the road tonight. Evangel now 1-2 on the season, kind of a situation they hadn't been in a long time after they fall to River Oaks last week, a national powerhouse at the 8-man level. And that's been the challenge for Evangel early in the season, challenging schedule to this point. It continues with their first in-state game this week against a Freedom team that's 3-1 and playing some good football right now. Andrew, what are your thoughts on this one? Can Evangel bounce back and improve to 500 on the season?
Well, like you said, it's another big test. You look at APA, what they were able to do to Evangel out of the gate, make it a really close game, and eventually beat the Lightning in the end. And then a River Oaks team that looks to me like one of the favorites to win that national championship down there in Panama City this year as well. But Freedom is always a contender for that as well. You look at the wins they've got so far against Tennessee Heat and Ezekiel. This is a really good, really tested team that's going to challenge Evangel from an offensive perspective. So this defense is going to have to step up to that standard that we've seen Evangel reach, not only over the first couple of games, but really over their history of their program. The River Oaks game, a little bit of an aberration. We'll have to see how they stack up against this team right now. I think it's going to be a lot of mental stuff as well for them to get over the loss and overcome a really good Freedom team. I just want it's a bit of a toss-up in my opinion.
Tyler, what are your thoughts on this game? Do you think Evangel is going to bounce back, get to 2-2 on the season against a Freedom team that's playing some really good football, arguably the best they've been in a few years?
Right. I think Andrew said it perfectly, was that this is a toss-up game, and Freedom is a battle-tested opponent as well. But when you look at Evangel, they've proven that they've had success over the years. And I think that they can get back on track because of those out-of-state games. And like you said, Alec, this is their first in-state game of the year. I think it's a matter of can or cannot Evangel get going on the offensive side. And I think Eli Black is the answer there. He's going to make the plays necessary to be able to lead this team. He's a natural leader. And I do think Evangel gets back on track, albeit a close game against Freedom. I think it's closer than what I put in the predictions, but it is going to be an Evangel win, I would hope.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be a tight game. I think these are two teams. Evangel maybe not playing to its potential yet this season. They're going to get there, and this may be the week that happens. But Freedom is playing at their potential right now, which makes this a challenge, in my opinion. I think Evangel is going to walk away, like Tyler just said, like Andrew said, with a tight win there tonight on the road as they kick off in-state ACSC 8-man play there against Freedom. So big opportunity for the Lightning as they hit the road. That takes us into the AHSAA, and we start with another team that's going to be hitting the road tonight. We got a lot of teams that are playing in their home stadiums tonight, but the Vincent Yellow Jackets of our games that are in the 5A or lower classifications tonight, this one in Briarwood Carver, the two that I've got my eye on to be particularly close. And this one for Vincent hitting the road to take on Lamar County is an important one. The Yellow Jackets coming off a bye week. This is a Lamar County team that started region play with a 39-14 win over Greene County. So this could be a challenging game for the Yellow Jackets, but the way that their defense is playing and some struggles we've seen from Lamar County early in the season on the offensive side, to me, that's the key in this game. Andrew, what did you see in looking at this game earlier in the week as far as that key difference maker, and which way do you think this matchup's going to go?
I think the difference maker for Vince is going to rely on its run game because Jaden Roberts is operating at an absolutely different click right now. Going for over 200 yards a couple of weeks ago against BB Comer in their last game out. I think he gives this team a spark plug that it needs, and I think the defense is operating at a really great level right now. A couple of good performances against both Winterboro and BB Comer. Obviously, only one of those goes their way in terms of the win column. But you look at a Greene County team that's struggling on the offensive side, regardless of the long road trip that you have to take up there to get up to Vernon. I think that Vincent is going to be favored in this matchup, kind of like it was last year, probably a little bit closer than last year's blowout that we saw. But I do think that Vincent manages to win this one fairly comfortably and get started 1-0 in region play.
Yeah, for me, it's consistency. I need to see consistency from Lamar County to be able to win this football game. It's a team that only scored 12 and 8 points in the first 2 weeks and then scored 39 last week. And then they also gave up 7 and 14 in 2 of 3 this year, but gave up 41 in week 2. So this is a team that can play really good defensively, play really good offensively, just been a little bit inconsistent. Meanwhile, I think Vincent's actually been decently consistent so far this season, and now they're coming into this one fresh off a bye week. Won this game 37-0 last year. Tyler, do you see a similar outcome this season?
I do, and that's simply because when you look at a team like Lamar County, the caliber of opponents they played in the first 3 weeks with South Lamar, Red Bay, and Greene County, those teams aren't particularly outstanding, and they don't stand out on the paper. I do think Vincent can bounce back, and like Andrew talked about, with Lane Mims and Jaden Roberts, I think this is a force that is going to be hard to stop, especially after a bye week and a win over BB Comer. So I do think Vincent gets it going tonight. I think they have it on the right offensive track, and I expect them to go out and dominate against this Lamar County team.
I think you mentioned one of the key points, and that's that they're coming off the bye week. And Andrew, you mentioned Jaden Roberts and that rushing attack. He got it going in their last game that they played. And so to have a bye week with that being the last taste in your mouth, the defense playing well, I think they're going to come out tonight, rely heavily on that run game on the road, play well defensively in this matchup as well. I think the Vincent Yellow Jackets get a big region win to open region play for them. They're on the road at Lamar County. What's homecoming for the Shelby County Wildcats? We got to see the parade today. A lot of excitement in the city of Columbiana as they get ready to host Jemison, which is kind of a good rivalry matchup between these two teams. Shelby County's expectations this season are high. Jemison has struggled to this point in the year. And so I turn to you, Andrew. Shelby County's got to make a statement tonight, in my opinion. They can't get caught up in the homecoming festivities. They need to go out and take care of business after beating Sipsey Valley 31-8 last week. Do you think ultimately the Wildcats are able to get it done and stay on that winning track here against Jemison?
Yeah, I think on paper, you look at these two teams, and Shelby County, its potential is miles ahead of what I believe Jemison is. Obviously, Jemison coming off of a win to start out region play up against Selma, but they haven't been particularly challenged yet this season, facing a lot of lower-level competition as well. Whereas you look at Shelby County, it's kind of worked its way up in competition as well, but I think it turned in its best performance of the season last week against Sipsey Valley, and it's like you mentioned in your talk right there. This is a Shelby County team that just needs to block out the noise right now and focus on itself. This is a team with a lot of potential that hasn't quite reached so far this season. I think that once it does, it's going to be a very dangerous team, and I think that this is the week where you have to take the step towards that, because you look at these next 3 weeks between Northside, St. Clair County, and Demopolis, that's going to be the stretch that defines your season, kind of like it did last season as well.
Yep, 100% agree with that. This is important. I said they need to make a statement for the exact reason you just mentioned, because of what lies ahead with Northside and Demopolis when it comes to those top 3 spots, I think pretty clearly in this region and how it's going to unfold. So a big week for the Shelby County Wildcats. Tyler, when you look at this matchup, this is a Northside or a Jemison team that's giving up 41.7 points per game. You got to feel like Shelby County is going to roll into this matchup, rely heavily on that run game, but also maybe see some balance with Ryan Sipe stepping up as a passer as well. The offense should be able to have success, and the defense got back on track last week with that performance. Do you think they have it all again this week to be able to pull off a pretty comfortable win here against Jemison?
I do, and there's the matter of the fact, like you said, Alec, was that Ryan Sipes has gotten back into form, and you saw him and Dominic Woods really expose last week when Woods had 5 receptions for 82 yards. And you look at this Jemison team, like you said, 41.7 points per game given up. This is your time if you're Shelby County to exploit a really weak team. And although Jemison got a win over Selma 34-28 last week, that's a high-scoring competitive game. This is where Shelby County comes into form. And I do think while they do have some stuff to work on and get back into full form here going into these next 3 weeks, this is a big opportunity for them to get their confidence up and get back rolling here in region play.
Yeah, to me, it was the big key. I said it a couple weeks ago on our show. Shelby County's success is going to be determined by their defense playing consistent throughout the year. They had a lackluster performance a couple weeks ago, and that cost them in their only loss to this point in the season. So when you look at this team and the success they're going to have, it relies on the defense. They got back on track on that side last week. The offense got confidence. We're seeing more out of Ryan Sipes and what they can do there in the passing game, but the rushing attack's always going to be strong as well. I expect the Wildcats to pull away for a comfortable win here against Jemison. 42-6 last year. Should be more of the same here this year on homecoming for the Shelby County Wildcats. That takes us to the Montevallo Bulldogs, who are looking to get back on track as they host Demopolis tonight in a big region matchup. Before we talk about this game, got to tell you about Montevallo Main Street, who's sponsoring the Bulldogs all season long. Whether it's Friday Night Lights or a quiet Saturday stroll, there's always something special happening on Montevallo Main Street, from unique shops and local dining to community traditions and small-town charm. It's the kind of place where neighbors gather and Bulldog pride runs deep. Make downtown part of your routine before the game, after the game, and all year round. And if you were able to make it down to Tanglewood last Saturday, great event, great festival, a lot of people in attendance. It was a lot of fun. That's just one of many things they're doing throughout the year there at Montevallo. Coming up in the fall, plenty of opportunities to take advantage of. Halloween-themed Art Walk is Art Stalk. It's back again this year, November 1st, Day of the Dead Festival. So they got plenty coming up. So make sure you visit the beautiful city of Montevallo throughout this fall season and heading in to the winter season as well. Guys, Montevallo struggled. There's no way around that to this point in the season. 1-2 after falling 56-0 to Northside last week. I think Northside and Demopolis right now are 1-2 in this region, with Shelby County battling for one of those top two spots as well. So it's not going to get any easier here for the Bulldogs, who are taking on a Demopolis team that has struggled a little bit but has played a tough schedule. Andrew, what are your thoughts on this game for the Montevallo Bulldogs?
Yeah, like you mentioned, those two losses for Demopolis so far this season, Mountain Brook and Jackson, two of the toughest teams that you're going to get anywhere on the schedule. So it really is a lot better than most 0-2 teams would state. This is a Montevallo team that really struggled to get going against Northside last week. Nothing really much to speak of in positive yards on offense whatsoever. So this is really a team that I think that needs to get back to basics and start moving the football around a little bit as well. There were a few bright spots in the defense as the game went along, and as Northside had built up its dramatic lead. But it's all about starting strong, getting those gains early, and then just seeing where the game takes you. I do think that Demopolis is going to come away with a comfortable win here, but plenty of opportunities for Montevallo to take some positive steps forward.
Yeah, Tyler, do you think there's anything Montevallo can do in this one with the struggles they've had to this point, that they're going to be able to compete in this game and make it a contest that could go down to the second half with a chance at a shocking upset?
It's hard for me to justify that, Alec. And one of the things I wrote very few notes for this game, and one of the things I did write in all capital letters was help. And I think Montevallo needs to get back to the basics. It's hard. Demopolis has played a very tough schedule, but they are one of the toughest teams to play in region. I just think it's going to be awfully difficult for Montevallo to go against Demopolis and really just make this competitive. But they do have an opportunity to find some positives. It's just going to be hard, and I think they're going to have the ball bounce their way a lot, and I mean a lot, in order to pull off this upset.
Yeah, the big thing is there's just too many question marks right now. We're not trying to sound down on Montevallo. I think this is a team that is closer, having more fun with the game this year than they were last year, playing more together as a team. But at some point, they got to put it together and actually make some big-time plays to compete. And it starts on the offensive side. They just got to score enough points to stay with some of these teams. And that's the struggle right now. Until they show us that, it's going to be tough to trust them to be able to take down a team, especially with the caliber that you see from Demopolis. I do think at some point in the second half of the season, we're going to see things click for a young team as they start to build for the future there at Montevallo. Well, that takes us to the Briarwood Lions, who are coming off a huge win last week to open region play over Ramsey, immediately shift into that position of a possible region championship leader there, and what's going to be a challenging region there in Class 5A. So a great opportunity tonight for Briarwood. Start region play 1-0. Now they get Carver at home, just down the road here from where Andrew and I are in the 119-280 area. And it's a big opportunity for the Lions. You know, if you can get to a 2-0 start, I know they had that 0-2 start outside of region play where the offense struggled. but they are playing good defensively, and they've picked up a huge confidence-boosting win last week against Ramsey on Thursday, an extra day to prepare going into this week. And as we jump into this game, I got to tell you about 3D Air Services, proud sponsors of the Briarwood Lions on this year's Shelby County High School football pregame show. Since 2005, 3D Air Services has proudly called Shelby County home. They're more than just your trusted HVAC company. They're your neighbors, friends, and supporters. From keeping your home comfortable year-round to sponsoring local schools and athletic programs, they're committed to making a difference in our community. As proud sponsors of the Briarwood Lions, 3D Air believes in the power of teamwork, dedication, and community spirit, values they carry with them to every job they do. 3D Air Services, your trusted neighbor, keeping Shelby County comfortable, one home at a time. So, Andrew, I turn to you. This Briarwood team, you saw them last Thursday, the steps they took. The defense continues to play outstanding. They're slowly working in that run game and finding their rhythm there. Do you think after that 0-2 start, they can completely flip the script and win 2 in a row to start region play?
It really felt like the switch flipped last week, especially in the second half when they got Jamison Barnes involved in the QB run. I expect them to try to run a 2 QB set with Charles Dedman trying to get the ball out to receivers right now in the pass game, and then Barnes running a lot of design quarterback runs as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see their offensive balance and their offensive productivity, because that's going to determine this team's ceiling this year. Like you said, this is a team that threw two games in non-region play. They played incredible defense and did very well in that regard, but were hampered by a lack of production on the offensive side. They definitely did a great job in that regard last week. They'll have a tough task on hand against a lot of athletes over at Carver Birmingham. But if they make it a little bit of a closer defensive affair like they did last season, I think they now have the offensive edge to get over the line in this one.
Yeah, and it may be like last week, a botched punt that ultimately helped Briarwood get that go-ahead winning touchdown at the end of the night. The defense is going to have to be ready. They're going to have to play continually all season, I think, their best game week in, week out to have a chance to win all the way to the end. But the offense just needs to continue to take those slow, progressive steps each week, which we saw that week one. They had some promise on drive one, and then from there through game two, it just disappeared completely. Last week, we saw those steps. That run game started to produce again. So, Tyler, when you look at this matchup, this is going to be a physical contest. Carver won it 20-7 last year. I think Briarwood needs to get near 20 points in this one this year to walk away with the win. Do you think they're going to have the approach they need to on both sides of the ball to be able to improve to 2-0 in region play and take down Carver tonight?
Well, to be completely honest, I think it's a matter of is how far can the defense carry them. And this defense, as they go, the team's going to go. And I do think this is going to be a gutsy battle. This is high-powered boxing match between these two teams who are going to be just striving for points. And in my prediction, I think it was as
one more round of applause for our
Carver Birmingham 13. It's just a matter of what can you do if you're Briarwood to execute. And I think Jamison Barnes is the big answer for that team.
Yeah. Let's turn our attention to the senior cheerleaders now.
I do think Briarwood carries that momentum they got at Ramsey last Thursday. It carries it into the season.
When Andrew and I talked about it earlier in the week on our Shelby County football show, that this is a Carver team that's not seasoned yet to this point. They played one game against John Carroll. They win that one 32-16. That's a John Carroll team that had given up 51 and 49 points in their first 2 weeks, and they only put up 32. So, to me, I think Briarwood's defense is going to be able to limit what Carver does tonight. So the question mark is, can Briarwood score enough points? 5.7 points per game right now to this point. So I think that's a big part of it when you look at this matchup. So it's a big opportunity for the Briarwood Lions. I ultimately think when you look at what they can do on the defensive side with the improvements they're making offensively, I think you're going to see Briarwood come out ready to roll in this game. Last year, we saw what happened after they won that first game, went on a roll. This year, I think last week was that week that turned the season for Briarwood and turned the tide there. So I think you're going to see the Lions walk away with a huge win. Win this one, win Winona, then it comes down to corner likely for that region championship there for Briarwood. Well, that takes us on to Class 6A, where we're going to see the 3 games here that we're talking about tonight, or that we're at on location. And we start with Tyler's game. The Pelham Panthers, fresh off of Ross Newton's first career win and a huge win at that last week against Chelsea to open region play. They host Calera tonight, a great opportunity for them to improve to 2-0 in region play and 2-2 overall. And then you look at Calera looking to get some confidence after a struggling start. Before we jump into this game, got to tell you about 3D Air Services, once again, proud sponsors of the Pelham Panthers. Since 2005, they've proudly called Shelby County home. They're more than your trusted HVAC company. They're your neighbors, friends, and supporters. They're going to keep you comfortable as we head towards the fall season, inch toward winter. You want to make sure that you're in good shape with your HVAC system, so this is the time to do it. Don't wait until you get that first cold night and then you got no heat, or like we're sitting in now, a 90-something degree day and your air condition goes out. So make sure you get your services tuned up there with 3D Air Services, your trusted neighbor keeping Shelby County comfortable, one home at a time. So, guys, I saw Pelham last week. That was a team that looked like a winning program. They had taken the steps the first 2 weeks of the season in those first couple of games. You could see that they were a better team overall than they were last year. Defense drastically improved, and then they put it all together last week. They take a lead, and in that fourth quarter, they looked like a team that was comfortable with the lead and put that game away against Chelsea to win it 19-7. Now they get a Calera team that's coming off a 42-13 loss to Ben Russell and struggling to this point in the year. So, Andrew, it looks like this is pretty straightforward, but you look at this last year, you look at the record for both of these teams last year, the way this game went last year, this could be a little bit closer than maybe we're thinking in our heads. Calera could have a response for them.
Yeah, I think Calera is a team that you look at its first three games. Those are all three teams that you expect to be right in the playoff mix with Northridge, Central Tuscaloosa, and Benjamin Russell as well. So those are really three high-powered offenses that gave a big test to this Calera defense. So I expect this team to come in motivated and hungry. They saw some positives, and I think that this coaching staff knows what it wants out of this team. And I think it knows that it's got a lot of potential on its hands as well. So I'm really interested to see how this team comes out against a Pelham team that, like you said, is playing with an edge right now. They're clicking right now, and they feel like they've got a winning culture that's come from a result of a new voice in the room in Ross Newton and a year of maturity for many of their guys. It's just a team that's a balanced offense and a defense with an absolute edge that Woodrow Briggs has instilled in it as a defensive coordinator. So definitely think that Pelham has the edge in this one in terms of a playmaking ability on both ends, but overlook Calera at your own risk.
Yeah, that's my big thing is you mentioned it. Woodrow Briggs, a guy that used to be on the sideline at the game that I'm covering tonight for the Thompson Warriors, was a great defensive line coach. He shifts over to become Pelham's defensive coordinator. Listen to these numbers. This was a Pelham team last year through their first three games, gave up 35, 38, and 36 points. Through their first three games this year, 22, 30, and 7. 17 points per game difference through their first three games this year. That defense has been a difference maker. It won last week's game. And with Dylan Smith at quarterback, Marcus Arnold at receiver, Rutledge at running back, this is an offense, too, that can capitalize on that. If you give them enough opportunities, they may make some mistakes at times, but they're going to convert on a lot of those opportunities as well. So, Tyler, when you look at this game, this is a Pelham team giving up just 19.7 points per game. Calera scoring just 13.7. You got to feel good about Pelham's defense being able to do enough to win this game against Calera tonight.
Well, when I was filming the red zone, I think it was last week with Marcus Arnold, I talked with Coach Newton very briefly, and the thing that he said that stuck out to me was that
Elizabeth
we're going to turn
Morris
this program around.
escorted by
And
Jonathan
last
and
week,
Tracy
it
Head.
seemed like they did that, guys, and it put a smile on my face to see the celebration of those kids after picking up that first win in Newton's tenure. And I think that's where you go from this. With the victory of Rutledge, Smith, and Arnold, you can go places. And on top of that, that gives motivation to the defensive side of the ball. I think it's a case where Pelham is going to roll tonight because Calera is just on a downhill slope. And I think, like Andrew said, overestimate them at your own risk, or underestimate them, I guess to say. But this is a game where Pelham should thrive on both sides of the ball.
Well, and I build off of that to say we saw the emotion that was poured into that game for Pelham last week. If Calera does the same thing this week, it's going to be a similar style of emotion. They want to win badly. They've got the right coach in place. They're just a young group, and eventually it's going to click for them too. So they're going to be playing with that same edge when you go into this game. But right now they're giving up 36.7 points per game. This Pelham offense is getting better and better and better. Way more confidence that they had on that side of the ball last year. But I worry more about Calera being able to score enough points against this Pelham team tonight. I think the Panthers walk away with a win. 2-0 in region play if they can do that. So that would be a huge start you may see a Pelham team when you look at their schedule, they could be playing Spain Park in a few weeks for what may be first or second place in the region at that point in time. So we'll see how things unfold, but great opportunity for the Panthers there tonight. Well, now we'll jump into the game that I'm at here at Herdmont Park as we talk about the Oak Mountain Eagles and Thompson Warriors. The Eagles welcome Thompson here to Herdmont for a big region matchup, an in-county battle. As we jump in to talk about this game, I got to tell you about Wayne's Pest Control, who's sponsoring both of these teams throughout the season. While the Oak Mountain Eagles and Thompson Warriors are playing defense against their opponent, Wayne's Pest Control is playing defense for your home. This football season, don't let mosquitoes, fleas, or ticks sideline your family's outdoor fun. Wayne's environmentally safe mosquito treatments will keep your yard clear, and their affordable Mosquito Plus program will also eliminate fleas and ticks. Protect your family and pets today and take the bite out of the great outdoors. For quality service and peace of mind, trust Wayne's Pest Control. Call 866-WAYNES-1 or visit callwaynes.com to learn more. So right now, this is a Thompson team that I think is arguably a top 5 team in the country. They lose to Grayson, a game that they really controlled throughout, the number 5 team in the country by 1 point in overtime for the second year in a row. This offense is playing well. The defense is playing well. They're easily the favorite right now to win the state championship in the state. In my opinion, Oak Mountain, they started strong. Their defense looked good. Their offense was building some confidence off to a 2-0 start. But then they fall to Prattville to open region play 27-6. Couldn't get the offense going. Tonight, guys, Andrew, I start with you. The offense has got to get going if they want to keep up with this Thompson team.
This is an absolute must for them. You look at what the Thompson defense has done, especially just last week in that 69-0 win over Tuscaloosa County. They really showed their stuff. And I think this defense through the first 3 weeks of the season has shown that despite losing multiple award-winning players and All-Americans, it's still right at that elite level that we expect from the Warriors. And when you look at a team that just struggled with Prattville and really only got 6 points on the board while looking kind of outclassed in that regard, there's a lot of concerning red flags that are going up there as well. So I think the big key for this team is to enter this game with a little bit of a mental edge. Go out there confident and looking to exploit those gaps wherever they come. Because this Thompson defense isn't going to give you much. You've got to exploit your moments in order to keep up with them. But overall, this Thompson offense is just on another level right now and absolutely slinging the ball around and pounding the rock as well. It's really hard to find a weakness in the Warriors right now. I like them to improve to 2-0 in region play.
Yeah, going up, the Oak Mountain offense scoring 16.7 points per game, going up against a defense, giving up just 10. It's going to be tough for them to score enough points. What they're going to have to do, Charlie Vaccarella is a young guy. He's going to have to get the ball out in space to guys like Jaden Aparicio Bailey, Colby King, and some of those other guys, Marty Myritz at the running back position. They're going to have to get creative tonight and really just try anything and everything they can to put points on the board in this game. And to me, that's a big key for them if they want to be able to have success. Tyler, when you look at it on paper right now, this Thompson defense, the offense, seem to be a pretty good step above where Oak Mountain is at this point. That's not saying much because Thompson, like we've said, is the cream of the crop right now in the state.
I know, it's weird because we've gotten to a point where it's just business as usual for Thompson to watch them just rack up the points and make an impression. But you're right. And
Mahim Batula,
is going to have
escorted by
to be creative
Kiribantha and
in order to have success. And I think here you look at a Thompson offense who had 8 rushing touchdowns last week, guys. Let me repeat that. 8 rushing touchdowns. It was something to behold. All of their running backs scored. They got a couple quarterback runs in. And I just think it's going to be too much. It's hard to justify the fact that Oak Mountain's going to do much of anything in this game. And I like Mark Freeman's squad to go to 2-0.
Mackenzie Willis, escorted by Ben and Colleen Willis.
7 Region 3.
Yeah, and if you look at this game, it's going to be one in the trenches too. Thompson on both sides is so big and physical up front. Oak Mountain that's where I have my biggest worry. Vaccarella having time to get the ball to those guys in space. That's the big challenge Oak Mountain faces. Right now, Thompson, just a better team at this point. Oak Mountain, I think, still going to have some opportunities to pull some upsets on teams that may not expect it. But this one's going to be a tough uphill battle for them. If they can pull this one off, it would bode very well for them moving forward. Well, that takes us to our game of the week just down the road from here at Herbmont Park by just a couple of miles, where Andrew's at Spain Park High School, as they welcome the Helena Huskies in a huge Class 6A Region 3 game. Both these teams sitting at 1-1 overall in the season. Both have had a bye week early in the season. Helena starting a week late. Spain Park entering this game off of a bye week. So it's a big matchup for both of these teams as they look to get a leg up in region play. Before we talk about this game, we got two sponsors to tell you about: Wayne's Pest Control and Oak Mountain Hearing. Let me start with Oak Mountain Hearing. And when you look at their new location there in Pelham, don't let hearing loss bench you this season. At Oak Mountain Hearing, we're here. We help you stay in the game so you don't miss a single play all year. Whether you need help with hearing aids, hearing loss, or tinnitus, Oak Mountain Hearing is here to help. Now open in Pelham. Call 205-728-1690 to set up a consultation. Don't let hearing issues affect your well-being. Hear every word effortlessly with Oak Mountain Hearing. 205-728-1690 or oakmountainhearing.com. And we've already told you about Wayne's Pest Control. Don't forget to give them a call as that weather gets colder. The spiders are going to be out. Get your termites checked as well. But, yeah, get Wayne's Pest Control to come out and take care of you this fall as we head into the colder months and those bugs try to work their way inside your homes. You don't want that. So play defense against them, just like they're playing. All these teams are playing defense against their opponents. 866-WAYNES1 or callwaynes.com. 866-WAYNES1, callwaynes.com. Guys, it's our game of the week. I'll start with you, Tyler, before we go over to Andrew. Spain Park, Helena, 1-1. Both of these teams, Helena 1-0 in region play. We've got Spain Park kicking off region play this week. So, Tyler, if you're not in the national anthem, we'll go to you. If you are, then we'll go to Andrew. All right,
Andrew.
We'll go to Andrew first.
Yes.
For this big breakdown. He's live on location. Andrew, what's it like out there, and what do you expect from this big game tonight?
I expect nothing but offensive fireworks. You got two really good offensive teams that are looking to get really good points up on the board and just doing really well overall as well. Really enjoying what Spain Park has done both on a passing game and on a rushing game side as well. Really good running back court they've got overall. Guys like Nick McKissick really pacing the ground for them. But it's that aerial attack with Brock Bradley that's absolutely phenomenal. You look at him getting the ball out in space, guys like Ken Arrigo, Mason McClure. This is really a team that can hurt you in a lot of different ways. So I really do like this Spain Park offense. But you look at this Helena attack, it's got a lot of edges as well. And I feel like once this team gets its stride in the run game, you're going to see a lot of things happen once it pairs with the passing game that's been effective through the first few weeks. Obviously, a lot hinging on whether Nate Ferguson will play or not. I was unable to watch warm-ups, so not able to get an edge there. But right now, I still feel like even if Ferguson is the one to go, I still feel like that Spain Park has the edge in that regard. I expect a pretty high scoring game between both of these teams, but definitely I think one or two stops going to prove to be the difference.
Yeah, it's a huge game for both these teams. Right now, to me, the most consistent side of the ball in this entire matchup has been Spain Park's defense through the first couple of games of the season, giving up 21 points in both of those games. Helena's been a little bit inconsistent across the board. Excuse me. I think with Spain Park coming off the bye week, that's going to be a big bonus for them. Tyler, what are your thoughts in this game? And when you look at it on paper, is Helena going to be able to get the run game going tonight to be able to keep pace with the Spain Park team and kind of slow the pace down of this game against a talented Spain Park offense?
Right. Well, forgive me if I repeat anything that Andrew said, considering I just had my headphones off. But I think where this game has benefited is the fact that Spain Park did just come off a bye week, and even more, they came off a loss against a really tough Hoover team. So I think having that rest is really going to propel them into this game to have some offense. And I think where you're going to see it is, and Andrew, you might have to confirm this, if Caleb Soriano or Nate Ferguson is starting, is that whatever quarterback is on the field is going to have to go toe-to-toe with Brock Bradley. And I think it's just going to be a battle of the offense if they can make it a shootout. But ultimately, I think Spain Park has the ability to make this their own game and get back in the win column tonight. I do think it's Spain Park's to lose tonight or against Helena. Yeah,
I do think Nate Ferguson is going to go. Just from what I've heard, that would be my guess. But I'm not sold that that's going to be the case in just a little bit of info that I have. So it would be a big opportunity if he's able to go out there and compete with a guy like Brock Bradley. But the big thing is this is a game where, Helena gave up, 36 against McAdory, 34 in the week 1 loss to McAdory. So to me, that's a big thing. I think Brock Bradley, this offense, going to have some success tonight in this matchup. So this is going to be a big opportunity for both of these teams, but Spain Park and what they're able to do on the offensive side and defensive side consistently makes the difference for me. Guys, national anthem time here. That's going to do it for this week's Shelby County High School football pregame show. Thanks for tuning in. Follow us on X throughout the night. Follow us on Facebook, website, everything. We'll have all the live coverage there, as well as stories, photos, and videos after the game. Guys, everybody watching, enjoy your football Friday night, and we'll see you next week.